Wendy the Whale's Christmas Party. It was Christmas beneath the waves. Wendy was sending out all the invitations to all the sea creatures, inviting them to the Xmas do. Sidney Seaslug was top of the list, followed by all those Wendy wanted to be there. Right at the bottom was the creature she least wanted to be there, Colin the Killer Shark. But she invited him anyway, as Wendy was full of the Christmas spirit, and she was that kind of girl. Sidney, meanwhile, was Christmas shopping, looking for that certain something Wendy the Whale would love. Colin too was looking for something. So thrilled was he to get an invite to Wendy the Whale's Christmas party. Colin thought that the invite proved beyond doubt that Wendy secretly loved him more than she did Sidney the Seaslug. How could he have possibly thought that? But Colin shoved Sidney out of the way when he bumped into Sidney at the lingerie store. And all the time Colin was singing, "She loves me not. She loves me, does Wendy the Whale." But Sidney was singing also, "Dream on, baby," for Sidney knew who Wendy loved, and it wasn't Colin the Killer Shark. But neither Sidney or Colin could find that something to give Wendy the Whale as the perfect Christmas gift, till 2 days before Christmas itself, when a pirate ship was sunk by the British fleet off the Spanish Main. Unbeknownst to all, the pirate ship was filled with treasure. Particularly on board was a diamond brooch belonging to the Queen of Spain. And whilst Colin the Killer Shark was sucking on the blood and bones of yet another pirate, he kept thinking of presents for Wendy. Then as he sucked on the final bone of Captain Ben Bones, the pirate king, as was, of the Spanish Main, it came to him. Treasure, pirate treasure. He realized this was a treasure ship. At least he hoped it was, so he went off to take a look. He floated off till he found the captain's cabin, and there it was, a treasure chest. And Colin opened that chest, and there it was also, a brilliant diamond brooch, the brilliantest diamond brooch that he'd ever seen. And as soon as he saw it, a wicked plan came to Colin's wicked mind. He would use it to trap Sidney the Seaslug. He put the diamond back in the chest, picked it up in his teeth, and whisked it off to a secret place. Then he got some squid ink and underwater parchment and forged a treasure map. Then wrapped it in Xmas paper and wrote upon it, "The ideal gift for the girl you love." Colin then set off to find Sidney the Seaslug, which he did outside Waterstone's bookstore. Colin dropped the parcel he was carrying. It floated past Sidney, who saw the words, "The ideal gift for the girl you love." Sidney realized immediately this was a gift from the undersea Xmas god, Neptune. There was no reason he should think that. He just did, because Sid was that kind of undersea guy. So he opened up the scroll, which said, "Follow this map to the greatest gift a girl could have." Sidney knew that this was just the gift for Wendy the Whale. But what Sidney didn't realise was that it was a trap set by Colin the Killer Shark, who'd set up an elaborate route only a trusting sea slug would follow. That Sidney could only think of the wonderful gift he knew would be waiting at the end of the trail. After all, Neptune wouldn't let him down, would he? Sidney followed that map that led him into a deep, dark cave. In the distance was a speck of light. Sidney went nearer and nearer to that bright shining diamond. He was almost upon it when he realized that it was a diamond brooch. He was almost upon it when he fell into Colin's trap, a wire cage that Sidney had not seen, so captivated was he by the diamond. And now he was a captive of Colin the Killer Shark. It was Xmas Eve, and time to party. Colin was dressed to kill, with diamond gifts wrapped, an arch-enemy caged and out of the way. Colin thought this was the perfect Christmas day, and off he went to Wendy's domain. He couldn't wait to see Wendy's face when he showed her the diamond brooch. But Wendy wasn't interested in diamond brooches. She had only one thing on her mind, sea slugs, and one in particular. Got it in one. It was Sidney of that ilk, Sidney the Seaslug, and Sidney was late. Where was he? Then she saw Colin the Killer Shark, dressed to kill. Immediately suspicious, Wendy buttonholed Colin. She said, "Have you seen my precious Sidney?" Colin batted an eyelid and showed his teeth, and he said, "I have something for you more precious than a sea slug," and flashed the diamond before Wendy's eye. Wendy took hold of that diamond and threw it into the air, flicked it with her tail and sent it spinning around the world, where it ended up in Spain on the dress of the Queen, where it once belonged. Colin did not know what to say, but Wendy did. She said, "If you don't tell me where my Sidney Seaslug is, you'd best get out. You better go and get him now." But all was well, because the other party members had all gone looking for Sidney, and they found him on the pirate ship, where Colin had hidden Sid in a gilded cage. But the cage was locked, so the guests bore Sidney aloft and took him as a gift to Wendy the Whale. But Wendy could not unlock that cage Sidney was locked inside of. Wendy turned to Colin the Killer Shark and said, "I wonder who has the key to this contraption." Colin, thinking he would get back into Wendy's good books, said, "I just happened to find this key. I thought it was that of the treasure chest, but it could just as easily open the gilded cage." "I guess it might," Sidney said. "And I better think it would," said Wendy the Whale, "and get on with it." So Sidney watched Colin as he slipped the key into the keyhole, and the door suddenly opened, and out popped Sidney, and in was put Colin the Killer Shark, and the door was locked again, and the key was thrown away, and Colin the Killer Shark was flipped on Wendy's tail 10,000 miles over the sea. And as Sidney held Wendy in her arms, he said, "I am sorry, Wendy, I did not get you the perfect Christmas gift." Wendy said, "Don't be silly, Sidney, for you are my perfect Christmas gift, as there is no more gift more perfect than your love for me, Sidney." And with that, Wendy gave Sidney her perfect gift, a great big sloppy wet kiss. And then the Christmas party began, and all the sea creatures sang, "Merry Christmas, everyone." "Merry Christmas," said Sidney Seaslug. "Merry Christmas," said Wendy the Whale. "Bah humbug," said Colin the Killer Shark. The end.